Hello there, my friends. So the other day I have been going through my stream session while leveling Bone Shatter Juggernaut in Path of Exile, and some interesting thought and comparison came into my mind. I have been going through absolutely not needed MTXs and cosmetics of Path of Exile, and as I picked up footprints, cloak, character effect, weapon effect, skill effect, each of the additions felt both oddly satisfying on the one hand and extremely familiar on the other. It felt like puzzle pieces going into places, or if to put a more personal reference, it felt like preparing and going through an analytical Excel table. I work in business environment when I'm not on my virtual adventures, and it is commonly known that Excel is a king when it comes to the questions of business use and some simple, in forms of instruments involved, analysis. As per my working experience, I find such analytical work to be one of the most satisfying aspects of my job, and as per my understanding, such analytical Excel task consists of several steps which are rather simple and obvious. First, you go and get some raw data. It looks ugly, but it is there. Then you start to organize it, and not only in terms of the data itself, but also in terms of its visual representation. And then it all comes into its place. You start seeing patterns or next steps to find these patterns. You can come to some business conclusions and even start making forecasts based on those data sets and knowledge accumulated. All in all, you start gaining results. I am a complete dilettante in terms of psychology and neuroscience, but as far as I know, this is the dopamine hits start kicking in. And it is well-known fact that games often exploit these dopamine mechanisms to make themselves appealing and hugely addictive. And now, if we are to compare several things, it is becoming apparent to me, and in the wake of my own experience, that the stages look quite the same. So let's see. In Excel, you get the raw data. In Path of Exile, if you are a noob like me, you go looking for some builds in the internet. Then you start your game, you look ugly, your skills look ugly, but you start gathering loot pieces, levels and skills. And in Diablo 3, which I add here for the sake of some endgame comparison, as I've never reached even maps in Path of Exile, you level up your character to level 70 and complete seasonal journey quests to get first set pieces. Then comes the next stage of the process. In Excel, you start organizing data, composing it and visualizing it. In Path of Exile, you get the first skills, equip all the MTXs and start moving towards getting to your skill of choice. And in Diablo 3, you start getting essential set and non-set pieces while gradually increasing torment difficulty or Great Rifts levels. And then we finally get to the results stage, which usually is only the beginning for the further stages of your path or of this loop. In Excel, you get to the results. You are able to identify patterns and trends, get to the root of the issue and formulate business conclusions. In Path of Exile, you get to the point where your MTX skill does not only look cool, but also starts popping packs of mods, and you get your movement skills to breeze through content. And in Diablo 3, you get your set pieces and start speed farming the highest torment tiers in order to get started with storming the Great Rift ladders. So if everything looks so similar, then what are the conclusions to this? Of course, this is not rocket science or something new in terms of neuroscience, and in no way I am pretending to be making eye-opening discovery for you guys. Though for myself, this thought process and similarities discovered was of immense value. Firstly, the similarity between what I found satisfying at work, which also took some time to realize and understand, to be honest, and in gaming is insane. Secondly, if those things are so similar, then why do so many people prefer gaming instead of, or even to procrastinate the same thing but in their working practices? Why the same thing in working practice is considered dull and boring? This might be the issue of the social perception in the group of people, or the issue connected with the time frame of the process, because in game you can start getting to the results phase in a matter of hours, and in work in a matter of days or even months. However, say in Path of Exile, Getting to maps if you are not a speedrunner is also not that fast, so it seems there are still things to be figured out here. Another thing is that how come the real world rewards of the working practices are valued less than the virtual rewards of the video game, when they actually provide you with the same rewards in terms of your inner feeling? That's a whole another question. And lastly, I can't stop wondering and thinking about how all these things are connected with these nostalgic feelings many of us have about playing video games during our teenage years, as it seems to me that they are, but I haven't figured out for myself how. All in all, those are all things that came into my mind. Let me know in the comments if you find yourself wondering the same, or maybe you have already found many more answers for yourself. And see you next time.